Hey guys, Crazy G-Man here. So I'm just going to go over some BVR tips, specifically how to keep track of your target. So I'm just going to quickly run through this against an AI difficult opponent. I usually kind of use this for practice. It works pretty well against human opponents on the contention server for semi-active radar homing. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend this if you're playing against Fox 3 missiles, but this works well enough. So I'm just going to get this unpaused here. I've got a Hornet with aim 7s up ahead, and we're going to basically do a high altitude joust. So unpausing, let's get rid of my tanks, and let's put co-op mode on. Let's put ECM on, track will fly on, and we're going to make sure radar is in not dummy mode, it's in active emitting. So we're going to go into our radar mode, and since we have track will fly, we should eventually pick up this target. Now here it is picking up. Now auto mode is fine in some cases, but it does take a lot longer to lock a target. It does switch between high frequency PR high PRF mode and medium PRF mode, so you will basically kind of have like that interleaved mode that you're used to on like Western fighters, but it is very slow to lock, and so usually I don't use auto. Usually I just use the head-on mode, which is the high PRF, or I use the pursuit mode, which is the medium PRF mode. And again, I use the high PRF mode if I'm having a target that's going head-on, and I switch into the medium PRF if I have an active beaming target or a target that's gotten cold. And usually I'll switch in the middle of a fight depending on where the aspect of the target is. So I'll continue on here. And so we've already got track will fly, so we've already got the target hooked. So I can show you right now here. So when you're, in this case, if I bank off to the side, you notice here that my radar is moving to the side. And you can also see that the radar is also moving up and down here if you look at the repeater screen, this line showing where the radar is. So I can kind of keep track of the target like that. I don't really want to use auto mode, so I am going to switch out of it, which means I will lose lock. So I want to get back on to where the target is and hopefully have, there he is, and then see if it'll have high PRF, target him again. I might just lock him directly. There he is. Okay. So usually I'm going to put it on manual launch so I can launch whenever I want to, even though I'm outside parameters. And usually I'm going to offset a little bit. So just right now as I offset, so you might notice right now here I've got a couple things on the screen. So here's obviously the ideal intercept vector. If you want to basically give your missile the most amount of energy, you want to put this, the crosshairs in the middle of this. This here diamond right now is basically showing where the radar antenna is pointing and where the target is located in relation to your aircraft. It's not, it doesn't take your roll into account. So basically it's still telling me that the target is directly off to my side, not off this way, it's off this way. So you always have to pretend that this is level to the horizon. The only problem right now is that it's vertical component. It should be showing how far up or down the radar dish is actually angled, but instead it's showing how far below or above the aircraft is in relation to your aircraft, regardless of where the nose is. There has been an error report put in here, but it does mean right now that you kind of have limits with that. However, I'm just going to show one thing really quick here. I'm going to unpause. Now in radar mode, if I use the first detent, I'll have to get a little bit closer. Let's see if I can get a bit closer for it to actually work. I has to be a bit closer. It's trying to do it. Yeah, he's too far out for it to work. So there it is. So now I got close enough. Now usually this works out a little bit better. Right now you have that circle again, but instead when you're in radar mode, before pressing the first detent on the trigger, that circle would just show you where you wanted to put to give the best intercept in order to give your missile the most energy. Right now, when I press the first detent, it works as it does in IRST mode, which means that if I put my crosshair directly inside the middle of the circle, that target is then bore-sighted directly in front of me. So notice here, if I just go down a little bit and sideways a bit, I'd be directly head on to it. So we're going to continue on right now. I'm going to fire off this missile here. And Fox 1, I'm going to bank. I'm going to follow that diamond, because I at least know where he is sideways. I'll keep track of it that way. And I don't want it to go outside the limits. Now I can see also from the angle that he is turning, and he's going to go cold. So, since he's going to go cold here, I can look up. Now, obviously, he's contrailing, so that's going to be a lot easier right now. But what I'll usually do is I want to make sure that I bring my nose in enough so that when my radar inevitably loses lock, if I go into pursuit mode right now, I might not lose the lock. But if I do lose the lock and I bring my nose up enough, my IRST should hook him because I'm in co-op mode. So basically the IRST is looking where the radar is looking, and it should automatically start to track it in that mode. Let's see if I can bring it around. I'm going to switch my radar quickly to medium PRF, so I might still maintain radar lock, and we'll go from there. Okay, unpausing it. Okay, go into medium PRF, bring the nose. Now my IRST gimbal should be arranged. Oh, no, I lost it beforehand, so what I'm going to do is go into IRST mode. So now that I'm in IRST vertical mode, that's usually the fastest way to get a lock. Usually if you're trying to search for someone and you know he's directly in front of you, best thing to do is to go into vertical IRST scan. Sometimes you will briefly get a lock and lose it. It really depends if the target is using afterburner or not. If it's not using afterburner, the range is reduced to like around 10 or 12 kilometers. And let's see, he's like beaming, then it's a little bit more, like 14, 15 kilometers. If he's an afterburner, it's like up to like 22 kilometers. So now that I have him in IRST mode, that's great, but I've got one more radar guided missile. I can't use that with using just the IRST. So what I want to do is I want to get the radar to lock back on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the radar into dummy mode very quickly. I'm going to switch to IRST search at the same time. So right now I'm in IRST vertical scan. I'm going to flip it one over to IRST vertical search because that allows me to lock the radar onto an locked IRST target at ranges over 10 kilometers. If I stay in vertical scan and I want to lock the radar on, that target needs to be within 10 kilometers in order for the radar to hook onto it. So I'm going to quickly do that. So I'm going to unpause again. So I'm going to basically put the radar quickly into dummy mode, and then I'm going to also switch over to IRST search, and you'll see the range scale change here to like 25 at the top. So we'll do that very quick. So I'm going to go unpause it. Switch into dummy, put into IRST search, press the lock on button a second time, wait, and there you go. So you have to press, and then you have to wait. You'll see the diamond show up, and then you'll see the angle vector show up. Once that's happening, I'm going to be arranged. Now, because he's coming a fair bit head-on me, I might switch back onto head-on mode to see if I can get that missile to work a little bit better. But I might lose lock here. But the idea with the R27Rs, I'm really just trying to keep them defensive until I can get close enough to use the R73s. So let's unpause it here. I'm going to fire this Fox 1 again. High PRF, Fox 1. Cut throttle, use my flares in case he throws thing. Follow up with some Fox 3s. Fox 2s, not even needed. The R27 did get him. So that is an example of what you can do there. Alright, we're going to do this a second time. This time we're going to try to make sure that the IRST actually does maintain lock using co-op mode. So I'm going to turn co-op mode on again, and I'm going to put on my ECCM, basically to help counter any countermeasures. And I'm going to turn radar again into active on mode, not into dummy mode where it then would be slave to the IRST. So we're going to go drop our fuel tank, and we're going to go into high PRF mode. We're going to turn on track while fly, and we're going to go fast. And now track while fly is already hooked onto the target. Now, something at times what I do, if I can, especially with the MiG-29 and how temperamental the radar is, what you can do is you can just go offset like this, and you will keep track of the target. Obviously, if he starts to beam, you might lose lock, and then it might become a little bit tricky to pick him up again. But what you can do is just keep this going, and then as soon as you're basically close to range, you can swing in. The target will automatically get locked into single target track. I'm going to turn on manual mode just in case I want to throw a missile a little bit farther outside of the necessary parameters, and sometimes you just want to do that just to make a target go defensive. It does mean that you're likely wasting a missile, but sometimes it's worth it if it allows you to get to scare them and then potentially to close. So I'm just going to swing back around now, and I've automatically auto-locked him. Going to bring him within. Diamond's in the center. He's in the center. I'm kind of near that intercept vector. Fox 1. Pretty still far out range. I could have really waited. We'll cut. Bring that almost all the way. That's about almost the maximum gimbal limit that can go on that. Use that radar diamond to determine how that is. He's probably not going to go. Just threw out a couple flares and chaff. Really, at this range, it's not really doing much. Okay, he is... So now that I've got him ahead of me, if I lose radar right now, I'm way within the gimbals, but he is not having that. So he's still at pretty good range. I'm going to fire the second Fox 1. I'm going to again do the same thing. I see that he's going to... I'll bring my nose around to keep that gimbal going. Oh, I'm not sure. Oh, he is firing. Okay, we're going to quickly bring this out. Oh, that R27 killed him. Well, it didn't quite show exactly what I wanted it to do, but that wasn't too bad. Let's try it another time. Let's try this again, one more time. Again, drop the tank, put radar into co-op mode, put the ECCM on, put track while fly on, and make sure the radar is in active mode. Let's go into high PRF or head-on mode. Track while fly should auto target him fairly soon. There it goes. And again, I'm just going to pull over to the side here. Notice how my radar dish is moving off to the side. And that's going to do all the work for me. I will put the manual launch switch on. We're trying to get as much speed as we can. Now, obviously, we have really no idea on the speed or height. Well, we got a little bit of idea of the height based on where our radar is currently looking, but it is kind of limiting. So once again I get close, you can see this tick mark right here. That's when I'm going to get into the maximum range, and just before I get to that, the radar will auto lock, regardless of whether I want to or not. So now that I actually bring him in, it'll probably auto lock because I get closer. There it goes, because I'm bringing him closer into parameters. We're just going to wait. Now, obviously here it's a little bit easier to see him, but I can see that that radar diamond's at the center and he's a bit below me, so I can kind of have at least a rough idea where he is. And it's pretty far out right now, but since I want him to go cold, usually fire first will help do that, so I'll fire first. Crank. I'll try to bring and try to look over roughly where he is, and try to then look at the HUD, kind of use both. I want to bring my nose up so that if I lose lock here, I'm going to go into medium PRF, which I do. Now, okay, I still lost it though. So, but now I can already go see if I can reacquire him. Yeah, which I do. I'll put it back into high PRF because he is coming straight at me. If you're in medium PRF and he goes over Mach 1.05 towards you, you will basically lose. Oh boy, he is. Oh. Come on, will my Fox 1 get to him beforehand? Nope. Oh, I somehow must have cranked enough. Alright, now we go. Gosh, what was I doing? And let's put radar into dummy, so it locks with the radar first. Now the radar will help you. Now if he's flaring, I won't lose IRST lock because the radar is also locked on and is basically telling the R-73s where to look along with the IRST. So that is also helpful as well. I still wasn't able to do it. He probably cut throttle, which is why the IRST didn't hook him. When I brought my nose back around, lost lock. But still, that's another good example to show there. Alright, we're going to try this one more time, just to see if we can get the IRC to maintain and hook him. I'm just going to fire pretty late to make that so I'm close enough so that the IRST will still be in range, even when he basically cuts throttle. So let's put ECCM mode on, track will fly on, and make sure the radar is in. Yeah, active mode. So we'll go into head-on mode or high PRF mode. And let's see here. All good. We'll have track while fly. And let's see. Put him at the edge. And this time I will lock him just before I turn. That way it doesn't accidentally like lose it. Just get him close. I will put launch into manual just because, again, and I like being able to dictate even when it's outside the launch parameters of recommended for the missile. Especially if the target's like quickly changing aspect, it's pretty helpful. Okay, so he's almost there. Gonna lock him by pressing lock on. There it goes. Gonna bring him over. Bring that little diamond as far over as I can. Probably could have waited a little bit longer. He's still pretty close. Or still pretty far out there. I want that to close. I'll just fox kind of when he does. Like I said, I could have waited this for a lot longer, had him come directly towards me, and then got closer to the no escape zone. So let's be bold. Let's do 20-kilometer shot. There we go. Crank. I'll just drop flares just in case. Okay, we're getting close. Put into medium PRF. I don't think he foxed on me. We are maintaining lock. Lost the radar, but I've maintained IRST. Oh, and the IRST did continue to track the missile. It will allow to do that. It's kind of like, I think, kind of works a bit like flood mode. Basically, since the radar is in co-op, it does kind of look roughly where the IRST is, and so it will. And you can see here that it's still illuminated, or at least it was back then. We'll have to see if it was. But yeah, there's some good examples of how that can work. So I hope you guys enjoyed.